At the entrance, the old Great Park Nursery's crumb roller used to be used to try to manage our very heavy clay soil. These steps lead up to the bee copse we shall see later.
Early in the year, this bank is full of daffodils and narcissi, but gets very dry later on. These foxgloves are largely self-sewn and have been very variable in colour shade and markings. Villagers may remember the Boag entry for last year's Tinmouth Sculpture Trail. Whilst the other towers of concern can be seen in other gardens around the village, this one, representing the melting of the polar ice caps, has remained here in the garden where they were all created.
Our bee copse usually hosts about a dozen hives belonging to a friendly local beekeeper for delicious honey rent. We planted these rhododendrons about 35 years ago, and they are now in the prime.
Moving away from the woodland area brings us down towards our wildlife pond. Here, hundreds of courting frogs can be seen and heard in the early spring. For many years, a frog-fishing buzzard came regularly for its amphibian breakfast. But this year, it was the heron's turn. Sometimes we would see it perched high up in this noble fir.
Along our driveway, the Devon Bank displays an ever-changing colour palette of flowers and foliage throughout the seasons. On the south side of the drive, A remnant of the original nursery gates makes an interesting but almost hidden garden sculpture. It's a pity you can't smell the wonderful scent of this Buddleia alternifolia.
The irises were particularly magnificent this year. Several decades of hard work, breaking up the clay and digging in compost, have turned our heavy soil into a rich loam, so at last we're able to grow some gorgeous herbaceous perennials. The chosen palms add an exotic touch to the garden, as does the grove of massive golden bamboos near the kitchen garden.
The seemingly old chapel wall, looking like part of the bishop's palace, was actually built for us by a brilliant stonemason, Davy, about 30 years ago. It does incorporate some old architectural remnants and stones dug up at the time from Jack's Patch. In keeping with the ecclesiastical theme, it is covered by a magnificent rose named Rambling Rector, which is alive with bees when in flower. Our kitchen garden is based around a set of raised beds made from old railway sleepers. The golden bamboo makes wonderful bean supports.
On the western side, by this wall of reclaimed bricks, is another herbaceous border for larger plants including banana, ginger and cannas. The wall continues up and curves around to enclose a sheltered area with raised borders and seating.
Because of the mild winter, we were able to reuse many of our plants from last year. Also, we have been able to grow on plug plants, which we bought before the lockdown.
Thank you for watching our mini tour of Witch End Garden, where we spend most of our time lost in this endless but thoroughly enjoyable occupation.
However, now it's time for a
Well-earned cuppa.